So today is going to be, I'd call it probably stage 2 of our training with our ewe and doe group. We've got lambs and kids by their side. I had put up a visual fence before because we were having some issues with some of the collars and animals not necessarily respecting the full line. So I just wanted to have like a temporary back fence to the virtual fence. But I just expanded the fence boundary in the app, and now I'm going to take down the fence. I'm waiting for it to update, so I may not take the fence down until it fully updates. And then we'll see how things go. It's a learning process for me and the herd. Day 2 update with our transition to using Nofence without a visible back fence. They're doing quite well. We did our training before, but now we're actually going to start doing managed moves now that we've got everybody out here on pasture. So she's already out. She's not actually getting any more warnings that she's out, and she will still be safe to come back in. So we're just going to go back in, and we're just going to go behind her and see how she does. Based on instinct alone, our animals tend to stay with each other, so they won't go too far. Gotta watch my feet here. There's a down tree. Aren't you a cutie? Okay, Mama, time for you to go back in. Come on. All right, I just got a notice that the sheep returned to the pasture. You will just see, I'll just hang back if she pushes it again, just for the sake of sharing. While we're waiting, I'm gonna take out my earbuds so maybe we can hear a little bit more of the environmental noise and see if you can catch her collar noise as well. So that song is warning her to return. There you go. See, she stepped in. So she understands how it works. Okay, so you can see her that she 361. Actually, even here's a couple. Okay, so here is 211, or I guess 11. I'll just use that. Pulse, 11, many, pulse, 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 pulse. She escaped, but then she returned right away. Okay, so 361 must have been with her, so she had escaped, but she pulsed again. She returned. Actually, 211 or 11 returned again. This is not. These are notifications that aren't always super in order, so they might be slightly off. But you can see 361 got notified, then she was deemed escaped, then she returned. She got reminded again, and again, and again, escaped, returned. So I will be checking on her. In fact, we'll look at her record in just a minute. So 361 is the one I need to remember. There's naughty 11. 11 is already is being trained or is already active. One thing I was thinking about is looking at if I can reset from active to training again, just so there's ones that I want to go through that process again. But today she's had 3 warnings and no pulse. Pulse is when, like, the last of the last warning. And then let's look at tracking where she's been at. So you can see where she's been out. And you can also see at where she's been before. Let's go to yesterday where she got out. So she was here. Let's see here if we can see where maybe that's there. Pulse. We're going a little. Can we go farther? No, we can't. Okay, do we see any escape? No. Okay, last week. That's okay, that's just tracking. Now let's look at activity. Okay, that's her activity. Okay, so let's go look at 361. Oh, I have one right now that's out. I see it. We'll go take a look at that one in just a minute. So this one is active. Let's look at her tracking. So you can see here, she's been testing the line. So she's been out. She gets a more extreme notice. You can tell here she's been in and out of the line and goes back in as well.
So a few observations that I made. In general, as we've kind of transitioned to having no back fence now, and everybody's been through the training process for the most part. A few things that I've observed is that overall they're respecting the fence boundary, the virtual fence boundary. I let them out, and they were all pretty excited to go to eat. And then I went in. I had to go run into town to do some errands. And then after that, I came back and I checked on them, but then I went in my office and I was getting updates on my app that they were hitting the fence line, but for the most part, nobody was going over the fence line. I had a couple that were deemed escaped, which means they just went over the virtual line. I'll be honest, I didn't check in my app how far they went. I probably could pull it up and take a look. In fact, maybe I'll do that here on the side and just share it for screen share of where their pattern went. But I wasn't as concerned because right now our first graze, like official grazing, is happening inside our permanent pasture. We're just not subdividing paddocks with traditional portable fencing. We're using the virtual fence. But then that one that was deemed escaped, she went back in. I got a notification that she returned to the pasture. So in general, my sense and just understanding herd behavior is that they want to be by each other. So even if they go out, they will likely come back. And I need to look to see how far that particular sheep is in training, just because if she's still in the training period, that doesn't surprise me that she's out. I will keep an eye on who continually escapes, because that might be a problem animal to not keep in the herd. But overall, it's been good. I know there's been questions about how are you managing young stock, or in general, how are your young stock working within this system when they're not in the collars. And for the most part, they stay by their parents, their moms. They may wander off a little bit, but then they come back to find them. The moms will call them back. So for the most part, their radius of where they go isn't that far out. I haven't had any issues yet of moms going out to go get babies because their babies are coming back. I would imagine it's possible that could happen, but at the same time, they're probably likely to come back to the rest of the herd. And you may have seen our big fluffy animals who guard the animals. They're wearing the collars, and actually they're doing really well. Come here, Monster. Monster, come on. Come here, girl. I even think they respect them more than our goats and sheep do. So, and I think also some of them that may be going through the fence, or that are learning to test it or kind of working on it. We had a handful of collars that weren't working quite well to start with, but we've been able to troubleshoot what the issue is. So I'm pretty happy with it. The next phase, once we get this group going, is then I need to get things set up to move our buck and ram group. We'll start moving them and rotating them. They're in our back pasture. I've been adjusting the boundaries of the fence just to get them used to new boundaries, and they've been doing a really good job respecting it. Same with the dogs there as well. In that case, we are going to move them right out of the permanent fencing to start with. It's kind of like being a grazer all over again for the first time. I remember the first time we had our animals on pasture overnight, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, are they going to be okay? Yes, they were totally fine. And it's kind of the same feeling with this. But just for kind of reassurance for me, I am going to take out some of my net fences and make a real, like a back catch fence pretty far out in the area that we're going to be grazing them, just as a safeguard for training if somebody does get out. Of course, I can always build a fence, another fence, a virtual fence around them, but I just feel better that way. But overall, based on their tendencies, they actually haven't really been pushing the fence much at all. So, and I noticed the other day I came back from baseball, the gate had came open. I swore I latched it, but we had a lot of wind, so maybe it came loose. I noticed one of the dogs had come out, and then she saw me and went back in. So I was happy about that, but no animals came out. But that was when I was really glad that we have a virtual fence. Obviously, gates should be shut all the time because it's just good practice. So there's the update on that. I'll continue to do maybe some more updates for this series of just how we're transitioning to using virtual fence with no fence with our sheep and goats, and share a little bit more about things I'm learning just as part of the transition process of getting our herd out on pasture using this system.